Now joining us, Epstein survivor Lisa Phillips. Lisa, thank you so much for being with us. Have you been contacted by DOJ for another interview?
No, I haven't.
Have you offered yourself up?
I think all of us have. Yeah. I mean, we would like to be interviewed and talk to them. But I mean, so many victims have reached out over the last 30 years, and nothing has been investigated from those emails and from those calls.
I wonder, because yesterday she was asked, she said that she wants to hear from you guys. Pam Bondi did. And then Dan Goldman had the survivors stand up and then say whether they've been contacted. And nobody had been contacted. And as you said, all of them, everybody has offered their presence at DOJ and still. So I just wondered, after yesterday, if maybe a phone call came after this hearing.
No, of course not. No. The good thing is, though, the public has finally seen what the victims have been going through. And you just said it, too. The right, left, center, even right-wing influencers, everyone's eyes are wide open now. So that's the bright side, is you get to see the dismissiveness, the personal attacking members of Congress with the victim standing right behind her.
What did it feel like being in that room yesterday?
First of all, it felt good to see these representatives acknowledging us with the printouts of emails and saying, answer these questions, like answer our questions. We have proof right here. Investigate this. And instead of just answering the question, she called Raskin a washed up loser lawyer, Massey a failed politician with Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, why are we listening to her? Just these pre-scripted insults and deflections. Why are we hearing them argue? We're there for some type of accountability on her part and some type of questions answered. That's the reason why we all flew in for. And just to stand there and have these representatives, I mean, really angrily saying to her, turn around, look at them, apologize to them. They're standing right there. And her just being like, nope, we don't care. For me, who, I speak out for survivors. It's the whole reason why I do all of this. We just don't represent, the 10 of us standing there. We represent the 1,200 plus victims of Epstein and his co-conspirators, and we represent millions of survivors around the world who are watching, who have a story in them that want to speak out, and then they realize, oh, why should we speak out? Our Attorney General, the Attorney General of the United States, won't even acknowledge the victim standing behind. It was just so re-traumatizing.
What about, did you get anything from other Republican lawmakers? I know Thomas Massey pushed, Democrats were pushing. What about the other Republican lawmakers in that room?
There was a few that were. I mean, I feel like everybody was on our side and everybody wanted answers. The way they went about it was a little different. Some were just a lot more heated when they approached her, but it still was the same result. We still didn't get answers either way.
Lots of these files have been released. I wonder, have you spent any time looking through them? I imagine it's extraordinarily traumatic, and I understand why you would not want to, but I'm just curious, do you feel like there's a whole lot of, obviously there's reporters out there digging through them, there are other people digging through them, but do you still feel the burden of having to do your own investigation, push your own trauma and your own demand for answers by yourself? Or do you think the government is working at that?
I'm not quite sure how involved the government is. I've kind of lost faith at this point. Hopefully they are. But when everything's redacted, the most important information is redacted. I'm not quite sure how far they're going to get. There's a lot of survivors, and a lot of us talk, and there's many that haven't come forward and that don't talk or won't speak out. But they have stories, and we do try to validate their stories within the files, and we find out a lot in the files. Yes, we do, and we connect the dots that way.
Lisa, I want to play the president. He was just asked just a moment ago about his Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, going to the island. Here's what he said.
All over the place, many times, I believe for years. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, were you aware that Secretary of Commerce visited Epstein's island, and do you continue to have...
No, I wasn't aware of it. No, I didn't. I actually haven't spoken to him about it. I wasn't. But from what I hear, he was there with his wife and children. And I guess in some cases, some people were. I wasn't. I was never there. Somebody will someday say that.
Lisa, do you think Howard Lutnick should still be in the cabinet?
I think there should be an investigation. It doesn't make sense to me that he would fly to that island with his wife and kids.
What do you think of the powerful people who are that have connections to Epstein? Maybe some of the ones who kept their contact with him after the initial conviction, maybe seemed to know something about his proclivities, or maybe participated themselves. A lot of those folks are still living in public life and have powerful positions. Howard Lutnick is just one of them. Elon Musk, another, according to emails we've seen.
I just like to look at the facts. I mean,
Well, do you expect the president of the United States to clean up his advisors and his cabinet and those he relies on, given their contacts? Do you think he should? I mean, this is what's happening in the UK right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, the UK's Department of Justice is very different from the Americans' Department of Justice. They work a lot quicker. And like you said, a lot of things are happening over here. I'm in the UK right now. But it's going to take time. But just sticking with the facts, so many people said, oh, I never had contact with him after he got the sweetheart deal, and I have nothing to do with them. But we're seeing now through the files that a lot of them kept in touch with him. Why? That's for us to find out. That's to be investigated to find out, how much they were involved and how much they knew.
Lisa, I do hope that DOJ reaches out to you and you're able to get an interview and to have them hear you out and what you know and to follow up on any leads that may be there. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us.
Okay.